Hello and welcome to Ellen Ruth Sew. I'm Ellen and today we are not making soap. We are going to make an emulsified body butter, and these are so luxurious. When you make a true body butter or a only body butter, which is just simply whipped butters with a little bit of liquid oil to help keep it on the more pliable side, it is fabulous. Very, very rich and has a greasy feel to it, which a lot of people don't like. They want all the benefits of the butters, but they don't want that heavy, sort of tacky feel of putting the butters alone on your skin. And so an emulsified body butter is the perfect mix because it has a water phase. It's a little bit lighter, it absorbs a little quicker in the skin, and I think most people like the finished feel of an emulsified body butter better. That's that's a lot of bees. Anyway, this video is sponsored by Natural Bulk Supplies. They sent me such a wonderful box of goodies to play around with, so many fabulous ingredients, and we are going to be incorporating many of those ingredients in today's formulation. So let me run down a few of the ones that we're going to be using today, and of course the full recipe will be written down in the description box below, plus I'll be talking through it as we go. I'll share the measurements I'm using. So let's start with the emulsifiers. So these are new to me. We have BTMS 50 that they sent me, and this I do know. I have used this, gosh, a while ago. This is a fabulous, it works as an emulsifier. It's also got a really conditioning feel. BTMS 50 is great in hair products, but it's also good in emulsified body butter product. It just has such a good feel to it, and so that's going in there as a portion of our emulsifying wax. And then the other emulsifying wax they sent me was NF, which I have heard fabulous things about. I have been using the soft and silky version, and so this is my first time using the NF, and I'm looking forward to it. This is supposed to have a great skin feel. Love that. Let's talk about the butters that are going to go in the body butter today. I haven't 100% decided on all. I may add mango butter. I'm kicking that around, but the two butters I know that I want to add for absolutely sure in this recipe is, here it is again. I talked about this in the soap video. Do you say Cupuacu or Cupuacu or Cupuacu? Don't come after me. However you say it, this butter is fabulous. It is a very emollient butter, and it helps carry water into the skin. It absorbs really well into the skin. This is going to be an absolutely great addition to this body butter today. So this will be one of the butters, and then the other butter I'm going to use, which I have worked with, not from Natural Bulk Supplies, but this unrefined shea butter. Oh, shea butter is fabulous on your skin. It's just good. And so we're going to do the shea butter, the Cupuacu or Cupuacu, however you say it, and I may add some mango or something, or Kokum. I haven't decided yet, but we're going to do some butters. Those two are definitely going to be in there. And another oil that I know I'm going to be adding in here is this rosehip oil. Okay, so I am in my late 50s, and rosehip oil has some fabulous anti-aging properties. It is so good, and so I definitely want to incorporate this in the formula today, just because I'm going to be using this body butter, and I love it. So that's going in there. What else? Rice bran oil. This has fabulous skin benefits too. So we're going to incorporate some rice bran oil in there, and vegetable glycerin will go in the water phase. This helps. It's very emollient. It's moisturizing, and it just adds another level to the body butter. So a little bit of vegetable glycerin will go in the formulation also. And sweet almond oil, so good. We're going to incorporate that. We've got so much going in here. And vitamin E oil. Now, vitamin E oil is not a preservative, but it's an antioxidant. So it will help stabilize the oils and help abate rancidity and things. This is not a preservative though, and because this does have a water phase, we are going to use a preservative. We'll talk about that when we get there, but we're also going to use vitamin E oil because not only is it antioxidant, it's great for your skin for more than just that. So that's going in there too. I am going to fragrance this today. You could leave this unscented. If you used like an deodorized cocoa butter that has a natural nutty scent. Shea butter has a natural nutty scent if you like that. So it just depends. You could leave this unscented. You could use essential oils, or you can use a fragrance oil. I'm going to use a fragrance oil today because I just love my fragrances. So we're going to use it. But I think I covered most of the ingredients. Of course, there's more, and we will talk through step by step as we make this emulsified body butter. And I may pull some more ingredients out here. I'm still looking at my ratios and how much stuff I want to pack in here. You can pack a lot of goodness into one jar of emulsified body butter. We're gonna have some fun with this formulation. So let me get everything pulled together, and I have to get my whole work surface sanitized. When you're making body butters, lotions, bath and body products, cleanliness is a must. So I've got to do some cleaning first. Then I'll get all my ingredients set up and ready to go, and we will come back and make some emulsified body butter. All right, we are going to go real quick through making an herbal infusion. So I'm using these gorgeous chamomile flower buds from Natural Bulk Supplies, the sweet almond oil, and I like to do a ratio of about 1 part herbs to 2 parts of oil when I'm doing an infusion. I'm not measuring here, but I'd say it's about 1 cup of chamomile to 2 cups of sweet almond oil, which, oh my word, this is going to be great. All of the medicinal properties of the herb will leach into the oils throughout the simmering process. I put a little cloth down in the bottom to keep the glass from bouncing against the bottom of the jar. I simmer it for over an hour. I use a strainer and a nice clean tea cloth, a cotton towel, to strain it through so I don't get any bits in the oil. I want a nice smooth oil with just the properties of the herb in there. Simple to do, but boy, that oil is luscious when it's all done, and it smells so good. It smells almost caramely nutty. So there it is. I'm going to put it back in the bottle, and now I have a chamomile infused almond oil that I can use in soap, lotions, any product I want, but this oil is over the top great. We are back. Everything is clean and ready to go. And the way I clean my jars is I wash everything with warm soapy water, wash down my work surface, dry it off, and then I take my 99% isopropyl alcohol and mist everything and let it air dry. And so that's how I cleanse my work surface area. So what I have here, I don't have a conduction little burner. I have just a little electric hot plate. It works perfect with a saucepan with water, and I'm going to put a cloth down in the bottom here so that my glass beakers won't bounce around. And this is what I'm going to use to melt my oil portion and heat my water phase today. So let me turn it down here. Got a little excited. Put it on high. All right, there we go. Let's get to our water phase and get that going, because that needs to come up to a nice simmer. So what we have first is 155 grams of distilled water and 7.5 grams of vegetable glycerin. So let's go ahead and measure this in first. And then after this boils, we're going to want to check the weight again to make sure some of the water is going to evaporate off, and we'll want to bring this back up to 155 grams. So I'm going to add the vegetable glycerin with this on here so I'll know the full weight, and that way I'll be able to see how much we lost in evaporation and get it back up to the correct weight that we need. So that is 62% of this formulation is water. So it's got a big water phase, but boy, that gives a really good feel, a light, silky, fast absorbing feel to the finish. It's kind of important. So let's add 7.5 grams of glycerin in here. And this recipe will be written down in the description box in both grams and percentages if you want to reformulate this. I'm making a 250 gram batch today, so that's the amount I'm using. Let's go ahead and get this up here on my little water bath, heating up. I got to turn the heat down, let that simmer away, and now we've got to get to our oils and butters and emulsifiers. So we have a lot going in this little container. Let's start with the liquid oils. We need 35 grams total, and I'm going to do a combination of 3 liquid oils. We're going to do rice bran, sweet almond that's been infused with chamomile, and rosehip oil. All right, so as we get measuring these, let me just talk a second about the infusion here. I showed some quick footage of making this, and boy, it still smells fabulous. I was talking about if you chose to make this body butter unscented, this has such a caramely scent to it. So I'm going to do just a little more than 11 grams each on these. 2 of these I'll do 12 grams, 1 I'll do 11. We need 35 grams total of liquid oil. So I'm going to try and split it up as evenly as I can. So here goes the sweet almond. Let's do the rice bran oil next. All right, and last but not least, rosehip oil. Oh, so good. Look at that beautiful color too. All right, and now let's get into our butters. And I made a final decision. We're gonna do the Cupuacu, Shea, and Kokum. I always want to say cocoa butter, but it's Kokum butter. So let me grab those. Okay, and the same measurements again. I need 35 grams, so I'll do a little over, I'll do 12 grams on 2 of them, 11 grams on 1, or a little over, to get us up to 35 grams total of butters here. So here is the Shea butter. There we go, 11 grams, right on the nose. All right, let's get out our fun to pronounce Cupuacu is what I'm going with, Cupuacu. If you say it differently, don't hate on me. Let's see, grab a little chunk here and see what that brings us up to. All right. I've got to say this Cupuacu butter smells amazing. It's very similar to an unrefined cocoa butter scent to me. That's what I'm picking up. All right, last but not least, Kokum butter is going in here. All right, and now it's time for our emulsifying portion. It's going to go in the oil phase here. My first ingredient I'm using is cetyl alcohol. It is a fatty thickener. It has a beautiful skin feel. So I'm going to do 7.5 grams of cetyl alcohol in here. All right, and the next ingredient is our emulsifying wax NF, which I have heard such fabulous things about this emulsifier. I'm excited to use it today. I need 5 grams of emulsifying wax in here. And then the last ingredient in our oil phase is going to be BTMS 50 for its conditioning properties, and this also is going to help be an emulsifier. So these 2 emulsifiers together are going to be wonderful and have all the conditioning feel on your skin. I think it's going to be a great combo. All right, I need 5 grams of the BTMS 50. And this does not have the best smell in the world, but it does dissipate. Don't worry about it making your lotion smell fishy. It's just, you know, it is what it is, but it does not come through in your lotion. All right, that is it for the oil phase. So now I'm going to set this in here, cozy it up next to my water, and let that melt down and let my water continue to simmer, and we'll be back when everything's melted and we're ready for the cool down phase. We are back. The water's been simmering. The oils and emulsifiers are completely melted. So let me go ahead and turn off my little pad here. And I'm going to weigh my water here and see how much we lost. All right, we're just going to add a little bit more. Is my favorite time of lotion making, body butter making, and that is when the magic happens, adding the oil phase into the water phase. I just love it. Look at that color, look at that color, and together you get this milky, gorgeous, luscious. It's just so fun. And there we go. So this again is nice and hot, and I'm going to blend this till we have a nice emulsion and let it cool down before we come back in with our preservative, because those are temperature sensitive, and we'll talk about that when we add it. So let me just give this a quick buzz with my stick blender to get it emulsified. And I'm not going to incorporate a ton of air. I'm not whipping this up to a big fluffy volume. You could do that, but I just want it really well and emulsified and just a creamy, buttery feel. All right, we've got it blended together. And now I'm just going to walk away and let this cool at room temperature here for a while. It takes a while. I'll check on it every 10 or 15 minutes, give it a little stir around, and we'll just keep checking on it till it gets down to a cool temperature. Let me take the temperature now and tell you what it is. Yeah. 155.8. So that's pretty hot. We don't want to add our preservative until it's under about 125 degrees. So now we wait. All right, we are back. It's been a little while, so I'm going to give this one last quick buzz with my stick blender, and then I'll be done with the blending portion, but just want to make sure it's fully cooling evenly here. All right, let's take the temperature and see where we're at. 114.9. We are perfect to add our preservative and our cool down phase now. So let me get this stick blender out of here, and this will just continue to thicken up nicely as it cools more. It's still very nice and warm to the touch, but it's not hot. And so you can see it's runny enough to come off of here, but it's clingy on, so we're starting to get some viscosity and some thickening going on. Lovely. All right, let me tear out my scale here and get on to our cool down phase, which is the vitamin E oil. We're going to be adding 1.25 of the vitamin E oil in here. That's just a teeny little bit, but boy, it sure is nice. I think it adds really good skin benefits as well as stabilizing the oils as an antioxidant. And it's very thick, so you just pour in teeny increments real slow. And now I am using today Liquid Germol Plus. It's a good broad spectrum preservative, and you need to add this under 122 degrees Fahrenheit because it is heat sensitive. So this is going in here at a rate of 0.5%, so 1.25 grams. Tear out my scale. And this is also very thick, so just go real slow measuring. All right, and now I'm going to add my fragrance. Let's talk about fragrance. Today I am using this fragrance, this cocoa butter cashmere from Bee Scented. It smells so good. I just made a soap with this, a triple butter soap using my oils and butters from Natural Bulk Supplies. And so I wanted to do this lotion because I'm going to take a bar of that soap and I'm going to take this body butter up into my room. So this I love. If you're adding an essential oil, look up the usage rate. And when I say usage rate, fragrance oils and essential oils from a good provider will tell you if you're making a soap, here's the percentage you can use, a safe volume. And if you're making a lotion, they're all a little bit different. So you can't just take one percentage and that's good for everything. Like most fragrances in soap is around 5%, but that's not all of them. So you can't just go without checking. So this cocoa butter cashmere says you can add it in lotion up to 5%. That is a lot of fragrance, and I don't like my lotion to be like a perfume. So I'm actually going to go much less than that. I am going to go at 1%. You could even go down to 0.5%. So actually 1% would be 2.5 grams. I'm just going to go at about 1.5 to 2 grams of fragrance in here because I don't like it to be too strong. I just love that scent when I put it on, but I don't want the scent to linger on my skin too long. So let's do that. We're gonna go, let's just go for 1.5 grams in here. So a little less than 1% of the total volume. And now we just have to stir this in very gently and let it finish cooling. And this is going to get thick enough where I think I'm going to pipe it down into my jar. I'm not sure. I might scoop it in there. But piping lotion is so fun for me because, you know, it looks really cool when you do it. Let's see. Oh, nice and smooth. And this is just going to get thicker and thicker as it cools off. So, the patience game. Today, let me show you, well, we'll set that off and let it cool. I'm going to be using an 8-ounce jar here. I get these on Amazon and they are the perfect size. I like a jar for a body butter that my fingers can reach down, like when I'm scooping it out and there's some in the bottom. If the jar is too big, you got to get your whole hand in there. You understand what I'm saying? So I think these 8-ounce jars are about as big as I like to go for a scoopable product. You can reach your fingers in and scoop. So back to when I was selling lotions and body butters and sugar scrubs and things. I have since shut down my retail shop, but when I was selling, I got these. They are little kind of like ice cream sample spoons. I got these on Amazon and I'll leave a link below. They're so cute. They're just made out of wood, so they're compostable. And I will take one of these and leave it up in my bathroom so you can scoop in there. If I have wet hands, like sometimes I like to put lotions and moisturizers on while I'm still damp, and I don't want to introduce more water in here just for cross-contamination and whatever. So these little scoops are perfect. You can take out however much you want and keep the jar clean, keep the product in there clean. But anyway, this is the jar we're going to be using today, and I think they're a really nice size. Smaller is even good too, but this is about as big as I like to go for a body butter. So we'll talk a little more about that later when this is all cooled off and ready to go. Let's take the temperature here and see how quickly all that stirring cooled it off. Oh, we're at 105, so it's coming down pretty quick. We'll be back when this is finished cooling. I'm going to get the lid down on here. Oh my word, this looks so good, and it is thick. Look at that. It's just beautiful. All right, let's give this a product test here before I go and print out a label, and we'll talk through labeling and all of that. But first, I've got a little left over in here, and I want to give it a try. It is thick, 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 but in a beautiful, light way. Very fast absorbing. Look at that. And it feels like silk on my skin. It really does. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. It's got a little substance. It doesn't just disappear in your skin, but it definitely absorbs really quick, and it doesn't leave any shine. It's just moisturized and dewy looking. Oh wow. This is making my hands happy. This feels fabulous. Oh, yeah, it's quick absorbing. It feels light. It's not heavy, but it has the triple butters in there and the different oils and just so much goodness packed into one body butter. Now, let me go get the labels. I'm going to make a label for this, and I'll talk you through how I like to label and shrink band these if you are selling your product. All right, we are back, and it's time to label my jar. And here are the labels that I use from onlinelabels.com. I get asked all the time. These are, where is it? 1.5 by 5 inch, and I do the craft paper. It comes in white and clear and many different options. Craft is my shop kind of vibe. And so this is what I use. And the Maestro Label Designer has templates that you can use. This template I purchased on Etsy. And if you go on there and look up soap labels, lotion labels, you have so many different options. And so I give props to people who know how to do all the computer work. I bought it, and then you can change what it says. So when you're labeling a lotion or a body product, you want to state what is the product. So it's a cocoa butter cashmere. I wrote a triple butter cream. Here's some of the highlights that has the different butters, the weight of the product, and then here are the ingredients, and they go in descending order from greatest to least amount. Those are important things to have on your labels. And so now let's get this labeled, and we'll talk about the shrink band. Oh, I don't have my spatulas. Let me get my spatulas. See, I almost forgot my own pro tip. The spatulas keep it from rolling. And there we go. I love how that looks. And this size band can fit 4-ounce jars, 6-ounce jars really well. It's pretty flexible size. So I love this size band, and it gets all the pertinent information on there. I think it looks great too. Now, let's talk about the shrink bands. I got these from Wholesale Supplies Plus. There's the size. They are 115 by 55. That's what they're called, and they do have a perforated edge on them so that they're easy to take off when you're done with the product, which I love. So it's as simple as just fitting this on here and shrink banding it. Let me talk before I get turning this on because my heat gun is loud. I think a hair dryer would work. I have never tried to shrink one without a heat gun. If you've done this with a hair dryer, let me know. Leave a comment down below so everybody can learn from each other. But I just use this inexpensive heat gun that I got years ago at like a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby. Amazon sells them. You don't need a fancy one. So just put it on here. I like to put the perforation in the back where the label isn't. I put it down where it's level with the lid, and then I shrink it on here. And so when I am selling these, I like to shrink band it because it just, when you buy a product, it has a level of sanitized, like, you know, nobody else has had their nose up in your product. I just think it's nice. So shrink banding is not something you have to do. I think it's a nice step when you're selling products. So there it is. Figured I'd just show it to you. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you give this recipe a try. And the liquid oils and the butters are flexible. So take the volume and the amounts and put your own choice, kind of customize it however you like, because you don't have to do exactly the butters and oils I did, but the ratios are really good. Let me tell you, this has absorbed into my skin. It doesn't leave a waxy feel, but it is buttery. This is more moisturizing than a typical lotion. You can definitely tell it's got more like butters and rich oils in there. So I'm loving it. All right, let me get to shrink banding this, and I hope you have a wonderful day.